Hey, it's Thursday. Let's see what we're going to do in reading today. Okay, so you're going to have two choices today for work to do. Make sure you finish those off. I choose one and finish it off and come up and mark that off of on your checklist here. Don't forget your target question, but we're going to be working on point of view. So, point of view. It's not the same as perspective. A lot of kids get confused between point of view and perspective. My perspective is that I think the most fun thing to do in my house is to clean it. But I'm guessing that probably the people in my house don't feel that way. That's my perspective. Point of view is the view in which the story is told. So there are three main points of view. First person, and first person is when the main character is referred to as I. So they're kind of telling the story. If you've ever read Diary of a Wimpy Kid or The Dork Diaries, both of those are told in first person, where we are talking, when Greg speaks about himself, he says I. And it's not in dialogue. It's just like we know that Greg is what he's thinking. We don't know the thoughts and feelings of characters outside of the main character. Second person is kind of rare. Second person comes up when you are actually a character in the story, and they come up mostly in stories that are choose your own adventure. So that one's very, very rare. And so we're not going to really talk about that one because we won't run into that in our textbook this year. Then there's third person. Third person is when the main character is referred to by their first name. So in like Harry Potter, for example, Harry doesn't refer to himself as I, he's referred to as Harry. So it's like the story's being told from somebody watching the events rather than being in the events. In that third person, there's two different types of third person. We can either have limited third person, which means we only know the thoughts and feelings of the main character. So if it were Harry Potter, we would only know what Harry's thinking and only know what Harry's feeling. But then there's third person omniscient. And third person omniscient is when we know the thoughts and feelings of multiple characters, even though the main character is still referred to by their name, but we know the thoughts and feelings of many characters. So your job is going to be to figure out the point of view of our story, A Package for Miss Jules. So let's see if we can figure out some other things. So let's come to this page. Here is an excerpt from a story. The book is called The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963, and it's an amazing book. I highly recommend it. So I'm going to read this real quick, and it says, I didn't hear any sound coming from the other sides of the car, so I yelled out, I'm serious, Byron. I'm not doing that side too, and I'm only going to do half of the windshield. I don't care what you do to me. The windshield of the bomber wasn't like the new 1963 cars. It had a big bar running down the middle of it, dividing it in half. So I see dialogue right here, and that's normal that you're going to see the word I in dialogue, but I'm going to look outside of dialogue right here. I didn't hear any sound coming from the other side of the car, so I yelled out. I see I. If I see the main character, we don't even know the main character's name in this paragraph because he's referred to as I. So that means that this is first person. Let's look at this one. This is from The Maze Runner, another great book. I highly recommend that. Thomas was hit with a wave of confusion, blistered with panic. The voices were odd, tinged with echo. Some of the words were completely foreign, others felt familiar. He willed his eyes to adjust as he squinted toward the light and those speaking. At first he could see only shifting shadows, but they soon turned into the shapes of bodies, people bending over the hole in the ceiling, looking down at him, pointing. So I'm noticing I see Thomas. There's no dialogue here. So there's Thomas. He willed his eyes to open. So he's referred to as by his first name and he without dialogue. Well, that tells me that this is third person. Now, I don't know if this is third person limited or third person omniscient, but I do know that we're seeing his feelings and what he's thinking as he's laying there. Some words were completely foreign, others felt familiar. That's what's going on inside his head, is trying to recognize that. We don't know if we'll be able to know the thoughts and feelings with just one paragraph. We don't know if we'll be able to know the thoughts and feelings of another character. So we're not sure if this is third person limited or third person omniscient, but right now it's third person. That's what's important to know. So let's think about your job today. You have two options today. You have the point of view thing here. So you're going to read the directions and give text evidence for what you think a package for Miss Jules is. And then you need to find some books yourself and see if you can figure out if they're third person or first person. If you don't have books at home that you can use, try logging on to Sora through ClassLink. That is actually where I got those two books that I took an excerpt from, is right from Sora. So that would be a good idea. Or you can do the Write About Reading, and you're going to be talking about point of view there. And I want you to notice that I want you to use race, because this is an extended response answer. It means you're going to be using race to answer this. So go ahead and give these a shot. Once you're done with that, make sure you go back and answer your target question. And when you're done with that, guess what? You are done with reading for today. Don't forget to do math. And I want you to also do silent reading and Imagine Learning if you can. Good luck.